Welcome. All right, so what I want to do is I want to go over how exactly do we determine the measure of one exterior angle. And when we're determining the measure of one exterior angle, it's going to be very important that we're, again, talking about regular polygons. Polygons that have exactly the same size. I'm sorry. The sides have exactly the same measure as well as their angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of draw a transgression of polygons as the number of sides get larger and larger. And these are all going to be regular. So let's just kind of start with a triangle. And then let's go with a square. And let's kind of get into an octagon. OK? And then now we're going to get to a circle, which is obviously not a polygon. All right? But what I want you guys to understand is when we start here and we keep on creating more and more sides where all the sides are equal, right? All the sides are equal, all the angles are equal. One important thing I want you to understand is we keep on getting closer and closer and closer to a circle. Now, when we talked, if you're former information, we talked about, what is the sum of all the interior angles, of a circle. What we start doing is the sum of a rotation of a circle is going to be 360 degrees. Now, one thing I notice is to find the interior angles, all we're going to do is extend our side lengths. So if I extend that way, and that way. So therefore, I want to find the sum of all my interior. What did I happen here? Done, done, done. OK. So I'm finding my sum of all my interior angles. Now remember, if this is a regular polygon, that's 60, 60, 60. So now when we're creating a exterior angles, they're going to be a linear pair. So if that's 60, that's 120. That means that's 120. That means that's 120. Well, 120 plus 120 plus 120, that equals 360 degrees. Again, if I do that for a square, we know that those are all right angles. Again, finding my exterior angles, I extend. And therefore, I need to say, well, if that's 90 degrees, then that has to be 90 degrees. That's 90. That's 90. That's 90. And I can say 90 degrees plus 90 degrees plus 90 degrees plus 90 degrees equals 360 degrees. So ladies and gentlemen, it's no coincidence that the sum of all the interior angles of any polygon is going to be 360 degrees. So I'm not even going to go ahead and figure out what is it going to be for a octagon. I can understand that the sum of all of my exterior angles is going to be 360 degrees. Lowever, what if I just want to figure out what one of those is? What if I just want to figure out what is one of those angles? So for a triangle and a square, that's kind of obvious, right? You look at it and say, oh, the exterior angle is 120 degrees. The exterior angle here is 90 degrees. But what about an octagon? Something that maybe is not, as obvious. So what I notice here is if I know the sum of all my exterior angles is 360 degrees, but I only want to find the measure of one of them, to go from 360 to 120, what I would need to do is divide by 3. If I wanted to go from 360 just to find the measure of 90, I would have to divide by 4. So therefore, it kind of brings me to the idea of 360 degrees. Think about how does the number 3, relate to the triangle? Well, that's the number of sides or the number of angles, interior or exterior. 4 is the number of sides or interior exterior angles of a quadrilateral, or in this case, of a square. So if I want to find the sum of one exterior angle, right? If I just want to find this measure of that interior angle, I know the sum of all the angles is 360, and I have a total of 8 exterior angles. Because there's 8 interior angles, therefore there has to be 8 exterior angles. So therefore, to find the measure of any one exterior angle, you're going to take 360 degrees and divide it by n, where n equals the number of sides. And remember, the number of sides is equivalent to the number of interior angles or exterior angles. So for instance, let's just do 360 divided by 8 would be 45. So the sum of one exterior angle is going to be 360 divided by n. In this case, if you wanted me to do 360 degrees, divide by 8. I have my calculator. I'm almost positive it's 85. But just so I don't have to redo this video, let's just make sure 45. Oh, of course. Da-da. So therefore, the measure of each one of these would be 45 degrees. But the main important thing I want you to get out of this video is to know how to understand the formula. Thanks.